Okay, so we are squatting today. That is sort of the primary movement shape, but they'll come in all sorts of forms. And I'll kind of go over each section verbally now, but we will review them individually as we hit them. So don't feel like you have to remember everything. Our first section is going to be 3 times through, 8 to 10 split squats per leg. For those of you with the option to go up in weight, try and go up in weight. If that's not an option, let's try and slow it down. If it's feeling easy, I'll say that much. Just slowing down your reps altogether. We're gonna do 10 alternating curtsey lunges, right? And then so just 10 total, 5 per side, and 5 wide stance incworms or push-ups. I'll explain the difference later. Part B is going to be 8 per side. Either I kind of have a few options here because, well, I do. Dumbbell floor press. This can be done from a glute bridge position. We can do 16 plank pull-throughs, dumbbell pull-throughs. Or, I know it's a third option, bent over rows. So you want another pull. We could talk about what that looks like. And that's nice if you have a heavier weight, mostly. And then to finish off, a little 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. I said for 10 minutes. I did bad math. 12 minutes, excuse me, of alternating V-ups, Supermans, and glute bridge marches. So just a bit of core work and belt work, right? And this is nice because you can basically use whatever remaining time you have to do this, or just enough. Excellent. Let's just start warming up, shall we? Let's just do some cat cows. See how things are working, feeling. For 10. Once you've completed around 10, it's okay to do a few more, by the way. That's okay if you're doing a few extra. Then you go ahead, alternating arms and legs. Extend your back leg, lift, maybe add the arm, then repeat. As you do this, imagine there's a glass of water on your low back. You don't want that tilting or spilling on. You need to remove the hands out of the equation. Go ahead, take the hands out and just do legs. So slightly different here. If you want to take kind of not quite a child's pose, but stay in that tabletop position, you can kind of bend, just kind of have your toes as if you're going to do a push-up. So they're flexed. You kind of just sit back into the hips. My back stays pretty flat here. It's coming back from oscillating from a tabletop position. I know Maxine a little bit different here. Tabletop position, sitting back into the hips. Right, they call it quad rocks, right? So they're not quite like wow, child's posy, right? A little more active. But it kind of feels nice if the hips and the quads are a bit tight. Do 10 quad rocks. You can even relax the feet if you prefer. That's fine too. Still sitting back into keeping it low back, nice and flat. We need a look, or it helps to have a here. We're not tilting the pelvis, right? The same way you would a cat-cow. 10 quad rocks. And then last piece that with this tabletop position, we're going to go ahead and reach back to that tabletop, reach up to the ceiling with your left hand. Nice big rotation. You know, you can't see my left hand here. That's okay. You're going to thread this hand between this gap between your knee and your wrist. You're going to rotate as much as you're comfortable. Repeat this 3 to 5 times. Make sure you can see the rest. Rotation, open up chest. If you look at your hand, that's great. If not, that's okay. Once you've done 3 to 5, we're going to do the opposite side. Okay, final little piece once you've done those 3 to 5%, you're gonna have a seat your 90-90s. Or I think they're called Z stretches, whatever. They've got lots of names for them. So you're sitting on your bum, feet are about shoulder or hip width apart. You're gonna drop your legs off to one side and just oscillate back and forth gently. So it's okay to go ahead and lean back, to switch sides. You can add a low back bias by trying to stay as upright as you can. But if that causes you some discomfort, you can just lean back. Your hands as you switch. To a total of 10. Once you have that, you can either come back to standing maxing if you like. You don't stay on the ground anymore. We're done with that for now. Okay, lovely. Let's go ahead and get our Kang squats. We've done these before, but I'll remind you them again. I will do my best to get myself on the full camera here, because frankly, my living room isn't big enough and my camera setup isn't great. So my feet are going to be squat width. So I'm going to need you to use your imagination on that. Okay. So my feet are squat width. My hands are above my head. Nice Y shape. I'm going to go ahead and reach my hips back, right? I'm going to reach back, squat down. Sorry, my hands are just up. My chest is up. Hips back. Stand. Hands behind the head for me is just a thing to do with my hands, mostly. But they were looking at sitting hips back behind you, squatting down, sitting hips back, standing up. Okay, let's do 5 reps, please. You need, the hands behind the head, just for me, something to do with my hands, keeps my chest open. You could just have your hands at your sides. It's up to you. So we're going hips back like a deadlift, sitting down to a seat like a squat, back like a deadlift, coming back. So we're kind of hitting our deadlift shape. We're hitting our squat shape. We're just kind of getting it's kind of a 2-in-1, if you will. It's like your conditioner and shampoo, if you will.
The head and shoulders of workout activity.
Is it head and shoulders? I was thinking, what's the green bottle?
Oh, I don't know. Oh,
Pantene Pro V?
Prel?
It was shiny and green. That's all I remember.
Prel?
Maybe.
I think that might be right.
Possibly. But yeah, head and shoulders. I mean, that didn't smell very good, though. That's my only feedback. Didn't like it.
Oh, wait. Was head and shoulders the dandruff one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That was the dandruff one. Way off.
we digress. But it is a 2-in-1. You get both. So let's go over our wide stance inchworms just to review it. You don't have to do any. I'll just demonstrate. It's pretty much an inchworm. You're just going with a wider stance. Ultimately, if you find that walking on your hands causes some discomfort with your wrists, we can just make these push-ups, and you can do push-ups off of dumbbells or a neutral wrist position or on your knuckles if you're comfortable with that. So the original intent, okay, wide stance to my yoga mat. I'm on the edge of my yoga mat, so I'm a little wider. I want to touch the floor in front of me. I'm going to walk out. My inchworm includes a push-up, so I can drop my knees, my push-up, and then walk my hands back to my feet. It's a little more of a lateral butt stretch, if you will. If you prefer slightly, you prefer a push-up, let's do some push-ups. Let's add a down dog to those if that's an option for you. So you can still take that wider stance, do our push-up, and then gonna be wider stance, down dog. So we're just getting a little upper back stretch. That's gonna be our inchworm or push-ups. Okay. Wide stance is for the inchworms. You can try it with push-ups, see how you like it. Split squats, we've done these a bajillion times by now, but just in case, we can take a single leg option with a foot down or foot up. So foot down would be standing leg is closer to you on the camera. Foot back, it's going to be here. I'm squatting, in this case, on my right leg, carrying a weight in my hands on my standing leg or my non-standing leg, right? You can even carry it near your chest, like a gobble position. Go down the pass, like this, for a change. We're doing 8 to 10 per side. If you prefer more of a leg lift, we can go with our leg lifted, right? Couch, sofa, whatever. And same thing, right? Weight optional there as well. Your curtsy lunges, we're going to be crossing over as we lunge. So instead of stepping back, or stepping just gently across, not crazy far, not like over here. So this shin angle should still be pretty vertical. So I'm not like, my knees and over here. It's still pretty vertical. We're going to be doing 10 alternating. So you can kind of find that balance. Let's start with those split squats. So split squats, grab the weights if you have them. If you don't, a Bulgarian's great. That's the light lifted version. If you're wondering, yes, this is a baguette. Just in case.
That's so cute.
And we may have a cheeseburger. Yeah, it's a theme. It started out with one gift and it just escalated. Here we are. We have a couch full of carbs, basically. So we're doing 8 to 10 reps on the split squats. That's per leg. So stay on one leg for 8 to 10. I still want to send the hips back just like that king squat, right? So sending your butt back. Imagine you're closing a car door. You're gonna keep your weight balanced over your front leg. So you feel like whether your foot's down or up, you want about, I don't know, more than 50% of the weight on your front leg. Chest can't come forward as long as you are balanced. So as long as you're not falling over.
Split squats and then
So the next movement's gonna be the alternating curtsy lunges. 10 total. If the switching sides is a balance issue, we can do 5 one side and then 5 the other. You can start with these. So both of you have weights. It's great. If you find weighted is kind of wobbly, you can go down if you have an option, or you can just go unweighted, right? So unweighted here is totally fine for anybody who finds that lateral step across the midline a little bit more challenging. Or if it causes some knee or hip or ankle pain, you can stop that too. We can just go unweighted. The final piece of this are your 5 wide stance interims. That does include a push-up or a lay down and get up. Or if we're just doing push-ups, let's add a little down dog if the wrists and the shoulders can tolerate that stretch. So if you don't like walking on your hands, that's okay. Of course, we could just do a good old-fashioned push-up. Knees are fine here. And warming up through that push-up is okay. You may stand up between reps on the inchworms. You do not have to. That's sort of a matter of taste. Some people get dizzy when their head stays below their hips or their heart too long, or their hips. So if you're that person, take a knee if you feel dizzy. Otherwise, go ahead and if you want to stand up every time, you can stand up. These take a while. Let them take a while. That's set 1. We're doing 3. And it's okay to rest between movements, the end of each set. If your single leg squat's not feeling great, but 2 is feeling fine, go ahead and just revert back to good old fashioned ear squat or goblet squat. If you have a back squat position or back squat setup, do that.
Oh, I just
It's all right.
did 5 instead of 8.
Oh, it's okay. I mean,
Counting is hard.
counting hard. That's it's true.
Ugh.
Here we go. Yeah, the rep ranges here sometimes are there to help you maintain the intensity. So if I say 5 to 8 or 8 to 12 or 8 to 10 reps, it's like you start with 10 and you're like, ooh, 10's a bit too much. The 8's like, okay, I guess I'll do 8. Maintain that same level of effort. It's like basically intervals getting shorter, but your power stays the same. That same idea. You can absolutely do a different weight for the curtsy versions because
Yeah, the 20 was a little bit too much.
yeah, and it's also just for me, it's a shifting weight and balance issue.
Yeah. That's what it felt like, that more than a strength issue.
Yeah, totally. I was gonna say, I'm glad you're adding weight to these, but you're also totally fine to do these unweighted, especially if it's more of a balance. You want to bias a balance position. That's okay. There we go. Way to lay all the way down. Nice job, Risa. That's great. I was listening to a podcast with my friend hosts a podcast, and he was talking to, or he was saying that, confirming and saying that you should get down to the floor and get up at least once a day, just so you know you can do it. Right? Like, I think for us, it's more in sport that we might find ourselves sprawled on the floor. not ideally, but can you get up off the ground? Because that's kind of one of the factors I think that's taken into account when you're talking about independence in later life. Is can you get up?
Yeah.
Because we're gonna fall down. It happens, but can you get off the ground? It doesn't mean you have to do 100 burpees a day. Just means
Yeah.
so.
Oh, something that was in the Outlive book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read it. Of course, I've forgotten half of it, but yeah.
Okay. I'm working my way through Roar again because it's been almost 10 years since I've read it the first time. So just seems like there's I think there's a whole chapter on I want to say menopause or perimenopause, and then level up or level something. The next one.
Yeah.
So I'm reading that one.
Yeah. I have it. I started reading it and then I didn't finish.
Next level. Yes, it is.
Next level. Thank you. I was like, it's on a coworker of mine lent it to me kindly. So I will definitely be. I'm debating whether to buy the new Roar one because it just has some updated information, some new studies, stuff like that. Feels helpful. But definitely want to buy the second one, next level. Actually, ironically, I think she lives in New Zealand.
Does she?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think she's either doing research there or I don't know why she moved there, but
living her best life. Looks like an amazing place. I've never been. I would always love to go.
I've only been to Auckland. I stayed on the North Island and only been to Auckland and Rotorua, which was lovely.
Nice.
Very hot. It was like, it felt like a tropical forest.
Oh, wow.
It felt like it, but I think it was just rainy season. So, uh, so we went mountain biking before our best friend's wedding. And my friend who went with me she rides a bike, but doesn't ride a bike that much.
Yeah.
And it was wet, and I'm not used to wet conditions because we're in California.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew the general principles, but I was a little worried that Laura's going to break her collarbone or something before the wedding.
Brakes are backwards.
Oh, and the brakes are inversed from Big Back Hike is hand switched.
Huh. Hi, Nikki.
Hello.
He's wearing the Snuggie and our matching M&M shoes.
Excellent. Do you have even different colors. Cute.
I'm the green M&M. I'm kidding. I'm not the green M&M. This is Nikki in all his glory. Maxine, you're missing it.
Fashioned by Janet.
Fashion.
And this is, I want to point out, this is his second comfy. He owns two. Just gonna put it out. He owns two. Because the first one was getting, and I quote, too stinky. So, if you wear it a lot, heck yeah, go for it. Who am I to judge? We're gonna do 3 rounds here. So just making sure we're all on the same page. We'll talk about part B shortly. We'll just make sure everyone is ready and available to do so. No, but yeah, New Zealand's beautiful. I would absolutely go back again. And we flew via Hawaii. Highly recommend. This is a 2-day flight anyway.
Yeah.
You might as well spend a day or 2 in Hawaii because
Not a bad idea.
it's gonna be it's already just 2 days as it is. So is
Yeah,
it 2
might as
days on a
well.
plane or a day or 2 in Hawaii, drink some Mai Tais and get on a plane again?
Solid planning there.
I will say what I do miss most, besides flat whites, are the Malaysian food is phenomenal. Like all the South, because you're close to Southeast naturally. So we don't have Malaysian food here. And it was everywhere. It was just like it's like roti and laksa, and it was just like, give me more. So I wish I had explored the South Island a little more. I heard Queensland's beautiful. So anyway, love to go back. Not anytime soon, but it's on my places to return to. Beautiful. So part B, we have a lot of options, and I want to provide options depending on your setup, basically. So in order, we did these, I want to say 3 or 4 weeks ago. This is one of those where you just did a bunch of inchworms or push-ups. The shoulder can move pretty freely forward and back, and this is all fair game because we can be in protraction where you can think like in arrow where the shoulder blades are out, right? And we're tucked, right? Excellent arrow. But the shoulder blades are, if their wings are out, it allows you to raise your hand up. That's how your arm works. So if the shoulder blade's out, but the shoulder's in the same position, that's called protraction. My shoulder blade's pulled off my spine. If I pull them back, right, like squeezing together, if you will, or opening the chest, that's retraction, kind of like put my little wings away. That's kind of thing like little wings. So my wings are away. So in this case, the push-up is actually pretty organic. You hit both of those shapes. Your wings out, wings in. That's how that works. In a floor press or a bench press, which I know we don't do very often, everything stays pulled back. So it's basically the inverse of pretty much everything you do. But it's a great way to support the shoulder and get some pressing. So we're going to be on our backs here. I have a kettlebell here. You can use a dumbbell. That's fine. The big thing here, and I realize I have a lot of clothes on, but it's too cold. I'm not taking it off. I'm going to be thinking about pulling my shoulders back, right? So instead of being here, I'm going to be here, right? So shoulders are back. I'm squeezing my shoulder blade to my spine. And what's going to happen is I'm going to be on the floor. I have one, you can have two. And I'm going to be on the floor, right? And then I'm going to squeeze my right shoulder back. My rib cage is up a little bit. That's okay. If I feel like I want more, I can go ahead and glute bridge it. That's not necessary. That's a bonus. Okay. Bring my elbow to the floor. My shoulder stays in contact with the floor. As I press, I feel it working right there, right? So I'm down, squeeze, press, right? If you want more range of motion, that's where this comes into play, right? But what I'm not doing is I'm not reaching at the top. I'm keeping the shoulder down. It's a weird thing, okay? But I think it's good to practice. That's 8 per side if you're choosing to do floor press, right? Otherwise, you can go ahead and start that inflation Maxine. Otherwise, we have some plank pull-throughs. That's where we have our object behind our wrist. And then you reach across. 1, 2, right? Complete for a total of 16. That's option 2. If you're doing floor press, keep rolling. Otherwise, we are bent over rows. This is a row position. This can be done where I can have my hand on my knee, so my left hand, left knee. My weight's in my right hand. My legs back. I'm gonna go ahead and pull my elbow back towards my hip. And I get the same muscle group as the bench press. Similar, not exactly the same, but we're pulling instead of pushing. This is a great option if you have a slightly heavier option on weight, but you can't say press it because it's too heavy, right? You can pull more than you can push for the most part. Any of the above. I know that's a lot of options. Option 1, floor press. That's the original idea. Option 2, our plank pull-throughs. That is a core piece / coordination motor control. Option 3, bent over rows, solid pull. You can get nice and heavy. You're doing 8 per side on the floor press, 16 total, or 8 per side on the plank pull throughs. Our bent over row is also 8 per side. We're doing a total of 3 sets. We're doing one of those things, just to be clear, Risa. One of those things, not all of them. Pick one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that wasn't clear. Sorry. So one of those things.
Okay.
In which case, if you have the option, let's do floor press because that's kind of what I originally intended. The pull throughs are on the option that people don't have the setup / would like to try something different. You can go 1 arm at a time or 2, depending on how that feels to you. So if you like doing that floor press, but you need to focus on 1 shoulder at a time, just do 1 arm at a time. So that would be 8 per side. You have 2 dumbbells. You feel confident with that. Go ahead and do 8 total with a dumbbell or weight in each hand. Keep your shoulder blades squeezed back. So you want to pull the shoulders back. Imagine opening up your chest, especially laying down towards the ceiling. It's okay to rest between sets. Beautiful.
Are we doing like 3 sets of those?
Correct. Yeah, but you can rest as you need, Maxine. You don't have to.
I just forgot what we were doing.
So the original, yeah, I realize. It's like, well, it's like when you give your kids too many options, they're just like, I don't know. The original intent / movement I had in mind was the floor press. Okay. The plank pull throughs and the bent over rows are options for people who either have weight too heavy to floor press, which is possible, or too light. So the pull throughs are more just a shoulder and core piece. Or bent over row is the goal. Sorry, words. Floor press was the original movement. So if you're laying down, you're nailing it. Good work. Yeah. We're doing 3 sets of 8 per side. And we'll talk about the final piece once we've all regrouped. Was that 3 rounds, Risa? Beautiful. Okay, that's totally fine. Yeah. Okay. That shoulder description makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've been doing these wrong like forever. So this is
it's not wrong. The way I think of it is it's okay to reach up if that's on purpose, right? Like I think the big thing for me is what is the intent of the movement? Even in the bent over row, you can have that a shoulder forward, or I would say a reach forward position and a rotational pullback position. It's more like when we're doing stuff, I like to start kind of in the middle. Like, what is neutral here? Where's the middle? And then can we start to deviate from that, whether it's opposite of sport, leaning into sport? So finding what the middle is, and it's okay, more often than not, it's okay to have a couple degrees of reach in either direction or extra movement. It's just more like, is that movement intentional? And if intentional, cool. If it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing, okay, let's find out.
I always find it helpful to know like what muscle you're targeting, like where you should feel that. So
Yeah.
having that cue.
Yeah, I'll keep doing that. Some people don't have a hard time connecting with that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Your body is hard. But the way I think of it is this: your push-up is human Maxine, right? We're human. The shoulder's a ball and socket joint. We have a lot of musculature. It allows us to protract, retract, and this is all fair game. If we made you into a lovely robot and say, do the same thing. We don't have a ball and socket joint anymore. We have a hinge joint now.
Mm.
What does that do? All of a sudden, it can't reach forward because there isn't an option. So now this is my fixed shoulder, and now I'm doing this, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Like a rock'em sock'em robot. Right. They can't reach. They don't rotate. They just,
Yeah.
right? So if you take yourself and make yourself into a robot, forgive the analogy, but that's kind of what I think about. That shoulder joint now is kind of fixed. Doesn't do anything anymore. It just holds the arm in place. That's
Mm.
kind of think of like a floor, any kind of floor press or bench press. That shoulder position relative to the push-up is a lot more mechanical, more fixed. And a great way just to get that posterior shoulder engaged, as well as your kind of your lat. It does
Mhm.
get chest too, especially as you get heavier. But you know, if you feel your chest, great. If you don't, that's fine.
Okay.
That's a matter of width, and then we could talk. That's a whole separate conversation. So as long as you're feeling safe and you're not doing one of these, we're doing okay. Our final piece is a bit of floor work. So we have alternating V-ups, or honestly any ab piece core work that you like. So this can just be a V-sit hold, so just an isometric hold, so no movement. The original idea, I'll work backwards from this, is going to be, we're going to lay down, right? And so the original idea is taking your opposite hand, bringing it to your opposite foot, and then coming back up. Now this is quite challenging, or it can be, right? And or if you can't actually straighten your leg, that's okay. We can actually go with a bent knee position. Tuck. Just touch your heel. So we're just, right? But my shoulder, I'm not doing this. Just to be clear, I am actually physically lifting up my chest. Now, if that causes some neck and shoulder discomfort, that can be a lot. We can do dead bugs. I know we do it a lot, but this is a great, just like, hey, my neck doesn't like being lifted, but you know what I can do is I can either go same side, I can go opposites, right? I can go legs only. Low back is engaged, right? So there's no gap under the low back, right? You can kick your feet out. I just don't have the room, right? So in this case, we're doing 30 seconds worth. That's it. You need rest within 30 seconds, totally fine. Supermans, we did these a couple weeks ago. Nice, just upper back / extension of the spine. So we're gonna be on our bellies, toes together, thumbs up. It's okay if your hands are wide to make this happen. And you can have your head on the ground. I'm gonna raise them up and come here. Raise up. Come back down. Or like I said, just do a hold. You just want to do a hold. Just do a hold, right? And then finally, our glute bridge marches. You're gonna basically, the glute bridge is your default position, as in that's just where you're going to be. The march, so you're just gonna be like walking in place. So you're gonna be here, stay here, keep your hips, try and keep your hips here. And you're gonna go for a walk, walk, walk. Harder than it looks, right? Feel like your butt gives up, good. Whew, take a break, right? And then come back. Okay. Hands, doing whatever they need to do. And we'll have 30 seconds of rest in between, right? We're gonna start on the alternating V-ups, tuck-ups, or the ab piece specifically, okay? We're gonna do this a total of at least 3 rounds each. If not, we can maybe do 4. That'll be the 12 minutes. So it's 9 and 12 minutes. We'll see how that goes. Okay. Starting in 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and go. So we're alternating a recess, so you can switch legs on the V-ups. Yeah. I can't tell if you are, but if you aren't, you can switch legs. Okay, great. and rest. Lovely. You can just frankly lay down. Shocking, I know. Eventually, you're gonna want to roll over onto your belly, but you still have 20 seconds. So no need to do that just yet. And your Supermans, need a better name for this one. Superheroes, there it is. You want to keep your toes together, okay? So if your hands are not in an I shape, they could be in a Y shape, especially to accommodate some shoulders. We're on our bellies, toes together. We start now. You can rest your head on a pillow, and then as the chest comes up, so does your head. Tuck your chin to your chest, like this, to kind of help support the back of the head. And rest. Lovely. And you can either seated or frankly laying down, whatever is comfy here. We have 15 seconds. We're doing glute bridge marches next. So the glute bridge, right, is your baseline position, lift the hips up. And then even if you're not taking big steps, that could be baby steps. We do this starting in 3, 2, 1, and go. Yep. You should, so in this case, the leg you're lifting up, the opposite butt cheek, the one that's still holding, should be like, oh, kicks in. Should start to work a little bit. 2, 1, and rest. Lovely. We're gonna, again, you can hang out face up. That was your first cycle. We're doing at least 2 more, maybe 3. We'll see how you feel. We're going to go back to the V-ups in 3, 2, 1, and go. Good. Two, one, rest. If you're alternating and you don't get an even number and that kills you, go ahead and just do an even number. That's fine. 1 extra rep's not going to kill you. If you can't be bothered, don't worry about it. I understand if you have OCD tendencies / OCD. I get it. Just even it out. We're going to go into our superheroes next. 2, 1, go. Toes together, thumbs up, Y shape or an I shape with the hands, does not matter. Or hands by your sides. That feels a little bit hard on the shoulder. You still lift up the chest. Toes together and squeeze your butt. 2, 1, rest. Probably easier to rest facing up, but that's just me. Okay, 10 seconds. We're going into the glute bridge marches next. 2, 1, and go. Two, 1, rest. Good. Rest as you are, frankly. Back to our alternating V-ups in 2, 1, and go. Here we go. Rest. There we go. Nice job. And the superheroes next. Let's get onto our bellies. 2, 1, and go. Good. Lifting up the feet and the hands. You can also not reaching to the opposite ends of the room. So we're going for a little height and a little length, not all height. Two, one, rest. Excellent. So your glute bridge marches, this is the end of your 3rd round. Feel free to join for the 4th if you feel up for it. Okay, glute bridge marches in 2, 1, and go. Having trouble accessing your glutes, go ahead and scoot your feet away from you a smidge. So a little bit farther out if that feels like it's all quad or all hip on your supporting leg. 2, 1, rest. Lovely. And seconds to your final, I guess, minute and a half total of work. 3, 2, 1, go. That's the V-ups or the ab piece of your choice. Dead bugs are a great default for anyone struggling with head lifted positions. Two, one, rest. There you go.
Okay.
That was last set of V-ups, Arisa, and actually. Okay. We're doing our final set of superheroes in 2, 1, and go. You're like, get those toes together if you can. Touch those toes. Yeah. It's okay if you don't go as high when you do that. 2, 1, rest. Beautiful. Final set of glute bridge marches coming up. 2, 1, and go. Final set of glute bridge marches. Two, 1, rest indefinitely. Maybe not forever, but definitely you're not doing it anymore. Floor work. We're done with that. Lovely.
Okay.
How was that? Was it okay? Was it 30
Yeah.
seconds an okay amount of time? Just
Yeah.
enough to be annoying, but but not so much that you're like, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Beautiful work today.
Thank
Your
you.
soreness is okay. If you don't feel sore at all, cool. We'll try and give you some options if your weight choices are limited. Maybe some of you are limited by that. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.
Thank you.
Whatever you have, find some joy today, whatever that is. I made Rice Krispie treats. I'm going to eat some of those. Maybe
Yum.
post ride or not during. That's kind of chewy, but you know, just I can eat sugar with. Well, I can eat sugar anytime, but I can eat sugar with a reason. More importantly, which is always fun. I did actually hear. I follow Isabel King, and she's like, as someone who eats sugar for a living, brush your teeth after you work out.
Yes.
And I was like, I've never thought of that. But you're right,
Yeah.
eating just sugar, most when we're training. And I was like, oh, yeah, just give yourself, like, or a rinse, just rinse out
Right. Yep.
with a bit of water. I was like, noted.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'll remind myself to do that today. Excellent work today. It's good to see you both. Hi, Meg. Bye, Meg. Good luck. Hope you're enjoying summertime. I promise we won't be bad and talk a whole hour.
Good. We got going pretty fast.
We have been good.
Yeah.
I mean, I might be biased. I think we've been good.
I think
I'm open to constructive feedback. Keywords constructive.
these sessions are great, Kirstie. You're doing great.
Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. I'll hopefully see you next week. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Bye.